What's up, everyone? We're three simple men making their way through the galaxy. It's Tom, Ryan, and Mike, and we're back in the Acolyte, episode 5. Uh, Forgot the title name.
Night.
Night. I mean, that does make sense because it did take place at night. And I called it. I called it.
You did. You did. You successfully identified who the stranger slash master was. So good call. I think we did a good job at not giving it away. But yeah, it was definitely hard to keep a straight face when you got it. But good job, man.
It was only logical because I'm like watching the last one, hearing May go, he's here. I'm like, well, how would he know where they are unless he's already there?
So yeah, we left off the last episode with the all the Jedi drawing their lightsabers and confronting the stranger, the master, Chimere, who then just yeets Osha across the map. Um,
He's home.
and then the last I think the last line we get is Soul yelling Osha run. And then interestingly enough, this episode starts and the first line we get is I believe Torben saying, or sorry, not Torben, Yorn saying Osha run. So I thought that was kind of a fun little juxtaposition. But yeah, I mean, he very quickly dispatches of all 7 Jedi. The 5 no-named ones, and then sadly we also lose Jecki with the reveal that he has a pretty dope lightsaber with a hidden lightsaber dagger blade in the hilt that comes out, and then he's got the little blade to
I mean, that's very cool to see that because it is technically a weapon. I mean,
oh yeah.
it's an elegant weapon used of the Jedi, but it is still a weapon. So, and then fast forward to the sequels with Kylo Ren having a cross guard. So I'm like,
Mhm.
anything's possible, really. Uh, First of all, we'll see it a little bit later in episode 3. This isn't the first time we see a bunch of Jedi take on this guy with a red lightsaber and get manhandled.
Yeah.
And then I felt Yord probably got the worst death out of them all.
Oof. Snap neck. I think that's the first and only snap neck we get in the Star Wars universe.
I I don't know what to say. That was just like, oh my God, did he just do that? It's like,
We do also see that he does have the ability to force heal because he force heals Osha at the very end of this episode.
It was Osha. Yep.
It
Because
was. So we get the swap. So May cuts up, which we also get, I think, our first ever lightsaber haircut. Um,
we'll move on to see if it pays off.
but yeah, so she cuts her hair and then they do a a parent trap, a little swap of the twins. So that's going to be interesting how that turns out. What did you think about the fight scene though? I thought it was pretty awesome.
It was I liked it because it was a little bit more fast paced. You know,
You got a lot of hand-to-hand combat in this too,
yeah.
as opposed to lightsabers.
I mean, we do see it getting fast paced. I'm like, because when we look at, when we watch the originals, watching Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader in episode 4, Luke and Vader in episode 5, it's kind of slow, it's just boom, 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 slow, choreographic. But then when we got to the Phantom Menace, that's when we picked it up. So I'm like, I kind of liked it because it emulated, like, this was during the high time of the Jedi. So they were not old men, they were young, they were athletic, they were great fighters.
yeah, it definitely was, fast paced. It did give me that, prequel trilogy vibes of like you said, Tom, it was like at the height of their age. And yeah, like even you had said, it's like this guy does not follow the rules of combat. He's unpredictable. And more importantly, he gets in your head. So it's like, I mean,
And he's successful.
they've been in secret for a long time and just like you guys said, I mean, there was a lot of fist fighting going on too. Like you don't see Jedi throwing your weapon there, and even Soul tried to call him out. It's like, yeah, you wield a Jedi weapon, but you're no Jedi.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they said that it's like it gets into your head because he gave me the vibes of you ever watch like for me, I was I like some horror movies. You ever watch like The Exorcist, The Pope's Exorcist, where you have that possessed person hasn't having a demon, they're trying to get into their head and of all their sins, all their guilt. That's what the vibes that gave me with the stranger because he's like you were said, he gets in your head. I'm like, he's trying to bring out all that pain, all that anguish, and then he's trying to get the best out of you. He's just trying to beat you.
I mean, that's how he kills Yord. I mean, Yord sees him and sees him unmasked finally, and we get a you. He's like, remember me? And it's like a moment where Yord just drops his guard completely because he's just shocked that he was encountered this guy before and didn't know it was him. And then he very, very quickly gets
Or
dispatched.
at the end with Soul, Soul was about this close of just
Killing him, yeah. Or like, or and then yeah, he was like mocking them, taunting, like what was he called, like Jackie? That thing had a name, and yeah, he was really like taunting Soul and just like, you know what, I'm free. Like I have no rules to live by, and like call him out. It's like you nearly killed me. I'm unarmed and you nearly killed me. So yeah,
and he
he
really
really
talked about the Jedi and the rules. I think he's trying to emphasize like you follow a code that really restricts you from being your own self.
He knows a lot about the Jedi,
mhm.
you know. We also get introduced to the first time ever in the chronologically and canonically. I don't know if it's said by name yet in this, but it might be the next episode where they say the name of the material. But he has like a gauntlet that's disrupting the lightsabers.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. I know
But
that this has come up, I believe, in some of the books in the past. The rare metal.
yeah,
It is called cortosis. So it is cool to finally see that uh in canon and in the film. And what a cool thing, like as opposed to just Beskar, which, we'll see and which can like hold up against the lightsaber. This full on disrupts the plasma and just like temporarily renders the lightsabers useless, which was kind of cool. Cool weapon to see.
yeah, he did that a lot. Like he did against like all the Jedi he fought. He did it to Jackie, he did it to Soul, and just
He did it to the two Jedi that he killed or the three Jedi that he killed in the cave thing.
I
Uh,
give the stranger probably the gold medal for most intrigue kills
yeah,
because he force pulled one or he stabbed one,
and then
the
force pulled the
chest,
other one into
force
it.
pulled the other one, and it just came out right, decapitated him. I
Yeah.
mean, we haven't seen a decapitation like that. Well, we'll see one later, but
I I also want to point out that, minus Basil, um Basil,
that.
uh Basil, minus Basil, Osha, and May, uh
Hazel.
out of all the Jedi that had come to Kofar, Soul is the sole survivor. So I don't know if that was on purpose, but yeah, they all die. And what do you think? I mean, I'd say as shocked as I was in the beginning when they killed off Indira, uh, that they went and kill off Yord and Jackie. I assumed one of them was probably going to die. I didn't think we were going to lose both of them. I mean, we just lost. And I mean, I guess the stranger kind of explains it. He's like, hey, and I think this justifies potentially the concern earlier on with Master, oh my gosh, Mundi. It was like, oh, there's concern like, well, how could he be there if in Phantom Menace he says the Sith, it's impossible, the Sith don't exist. Um, they've been gone for whatever, but he was like aware of this. way it's sounding is the stranger's plan here is, you know, no witnesses. Dead men tell no tales. He's going to take out every single one of the people that know he exists, and then so it is quite possible that the his story doesn't get back. I mean, right now the only Jedi that exists now that knows about him is Soul. You know, Osha, it's a former Jedi, not even like what is she, a former Padawan, I guess. And then you have May, who's obviously a Sith Padawan, I guess you would call it now, or
Assassin.
the Acolyte.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's very interesting.
very interesting. I don't know if he intentionally, like, I think like you said, he wanted no survivors, but maybe overall plan, it's like, well, if you have one survivor to tell the tale, it's like, would the High Council, would anyone else believe him? They're like, well, is there anyone else there? Because we don't know. Because right now we saw OSHA and May do the swap.
Mm-hmm.
So May's uh motive is just trying to get OSHA. I think it's more of like she doesn't want to be with the stranger. She doesn't want OSHA to be with the Jedi. They just want to escape and be away from all this. They want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but then why would she switch places with her? You know, I'm assuming it's still the right. May doesn't like Soul. She's
Unless
made
May,
she
unless,
said, I've done what I had to do to get vengeance for our family, so or revenge. Um, the real question is what the heck is the stranger gonna do with Osha? I mean, she's gonna wake up and she ain't gonna be too happy. So, um, it's gonna be very interesting. Short episode. Um, really, you know, barely moves the story forward, just clears a lot of characters and then gives us that one swap. Gives us a great fight scene. Continues to fall into my critique of this, that why did we need a one, you know, and again, we're the way we're recording and stuff, but even when it came out, they had dropped these episodes one at a time every week. Did we really need a week cliffhanger between them all drawing their lightsabers and about to fight? It was kind of like, you know, you got no finishing of the last episode. Like, there's no reason the last episode and this episode couldn't all be one episode. And there's really no reason, I think, still why the whole thing couldn't have been one film. And who knows? Maybe that's what they'll do. I mean, I guess at the time of recording this now, we've heard the news that they canceled um any future season, so a season 2, which I do think is a shame, and I think you guys agree with me on that. Um, I don't know. I think we got some really cool characters in this. I think the actors, especially the stranger. I mean, uh I think he does a great job. He plays, you know, two characters. I think Osha and May, I mean, you forget that they're the same actress. I mean, I do. And like now it's even crazy because it's it reminds me of Tropic Thunder a little bit. It's like I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as the other dude. This actress is playing the actress who's playing May and Osha is now playing May pretending to be Osha. I think it's really impressive because even like that moment at the end when she like talks to Soul, I feel like you as us as the audience, I feel like you could like one, we know obviously we know that it's May, but even the way she's talking, it just seems like different. Like she sounds like it's like, oh, you're like you forget it's all the same person, really. I think she's a fantastic actress. I think she's really pulling it off as being like, okay, like now it's this like she has to act a third way. And it really is almost like she's doing a good job playing someone pretending to be someone else, that she's also played that other person. Like she could have easily just been like, you'd be watching it and be like, all right, well now she's just May. But I personally think she does a great job at like doing these little tweaks. And I tried trying to pick up on what it was. And I think it's just like kind of the tone of her voice and the pacing as May pretending to be Osha. Like she's just kind of like Soul and like kind of slow, kind of like a little slower. I think it's very impressive. End of rant.
One slip up though, because it was like, where is she? It's like, who? I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like those little like kind of nuances. Also, something I noticed watching it the second time, uh, Osha don't give a fuck. Oh, that might have been the first time I swear it on this podcast. Uh,
You're the
she
last one,
she
Mike.
comes around the corner and she sees Jackie just dead and like doesn't react at all. She like sees her and then like
I thought she felt it in the woods, like,
she felt that they were like going to get killed, but then she's just like, and she comes like running there, and then she like sees that she's dead, and like there's a shot of her face, and she's just kind of like standing there looking, and like I think she then turns and like tases May, but like I would have expected like a scream, a cry. I mean, she was worried about Jackie the whole time, and then she's dead, and she's just like, okay. It was very interesting to see that kind of. It almost seemed like May was more. I mean, May, any chance she got, she was trying to run away, right? May was just trying to get the heck out of there.
also why she did the swap too.
Well, yeah, because she had one person trying to kill her, and then the other two trying to arrest her. She was like, "I'm out."
Mhm.
But even then, it's like May almost seemed like, and they saved her life. Soul and Jackie saved her life a couple times. I liked it, and I liked watching it a second time. I hope it stays on Disney Plus so it can be watched and maybe more people give it a chance and it gets a little more views and a little more popular. But unfortunately, it just got nerfed by those Rotten Tomato uh fake ratings.
Yeah, good episode. Nice to see more yellow lightsabers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very fun.
Nice to the old Republic. You choose your color: blue, green, uh, yellow. Then you got red, of course, which kind of makes Mace Windu's purple lightsaber a little bit more special now.
Oh yeah.
Didn't like the different colors like represent like different kinds of Jedi.
It was like
Night
blue
Guardian,
was Guardian, green was counselor,
Counselor,
counselor, and then yellow was Sentinel.
Sentinel. Yep. It's like Sentry or Sentinel. I think it was
Guardian
Sentinel.
was more like lightsaber combat focus. Green, just like Qui-Gon, was more focused on using the Force as like a
Force.
ally, as it's a guide, and then the Sentinel was. I always forgot what the Sentinel was, but maybe it was a little bit both. I don't
It was
remember.
more negotiator, more like a counselor trainer thing, maybe, or like
Something like that.
always fun, you
Mhm.
know. But who knows? Hopefully, this getting canceled doesn't put any, you know, because I heard there was rumors that the showrunner of this wanted to potentially dive into Knights of the Old Republic. I know there's been talk, like little murmurs of a potential, like some people are interested in bringing Knights of the Old Republic, the game, like that universe and that era um to the big screen or Disney Plus at least. But I don't know, doesn't get enough views, and I got this right here. We haven't gotten to it yet, but I don't think we're gonna see any more from what they introduced to Solo. It just kind of happened, and then they kind of just stopped talking about it and they move on. I'd love to be pleasantly surprised and to see some other uh Solo project or something from that, but
I mean, just the
it
way Solo ended was like, come on, you gotta.
was awesome. They set up stuff and then it just doesn't make the money. And but I mean, that's like I feel like there's other things that get better, like you know aren't always as good the first, and then the second one gets better, and you build these, especially with TV series, right? That's the problem. I think that's where they messed up. Like they spent probably obviously too much money on the Acolyte, but they're treating it like a film or something where it's like, oh, we're not going to move this more on a franchise. And the fact that it's a series, there's plenty of TV shows where season one, it got renewed, but it's not that great. And then, it's like, oh, but once you get to season two, and then, it builds and they get better. But
It's like I said before. It was like it's like I like it, but it's like with Disney, they're putting out a lot. they're putting out a lot of shows, and it's just like sometimes it could feel forced. Like you're just putting more Star Wars stuff where it's just like, well, we kind of don't need it because we got Skeleton Crew coming up. What next? Like the next
December.
show.
December.
So it's just like, it's like I said before. Maybe just pause for a second, just slow it down. Just let Filoni and Favreau finish up that Mandalorian Grogu movie. Then it's just like, all right, now we pause. We waited for this movie
Oh, don't forget Andor season 2.
and Andor season 2, because you want to make sure. Like, I loved Andor too because we loved Rogue One. You want to make sure. I guess most of the problem has always been bad storytelling.
Hmm.
I guess that's what a lot of people complained, which I kind of can understand. That, like, if you force a TV show, you kind of force the writing, and it could be lazy. Yeah, we've seen it, but it's just like with certain shows like Andor, because of the success of Rogue One, that's where you got to focus on. Like, okay, we have this great character, we have this good story that we saw in a movie. We want to make sure it's all the writing's good, the story is good. We want to make sure everything is good and fluent, and everyone could actually enjoy it. And that's where I think Disney just needs to just really think about it. Just make sure you focus on making a good story. Politics aside, just write a good story. That's what I can agree with people, but the ones who just use all the other fucking bullshit excuses on little things like what female characters, directors, whatever the fuck, they can kick rocks. Yeah, that's my little rant.
Yeah.
Like a rant.
If not, take it away, Mike.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining Three Simple Men making their way through the galaxy. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, and come back next week for some more Acolyte content. May the force be with you always.